Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Ignite. And right now we're starting with the business edition of this. And we're so excited that we have Ally Raskin here, who's going to help us learn how to build intentionally. And looking into all of her experience, Ally has spent 18 years in telecommunications as an executive and has traveled around the world. And not until she had her own family experience that she needed to dive into to help one of her children. She left corporate America and she has found ways to naturally help her family, which is very exciting because she's touched many people's lives and now helping people with natural wellness in their daily lives, replacing toxins and obviously living above the wellness line. So really love her whole story. And the one thing that I just want to mention is helping people to protect their medical freedom, which these days is getting a little bit more scary day by day. So our job is to really take that step to be our own health advocate for ourselves and of course our family. So today, but she's going to be teaching us about building internationally. And Ally, I'm sure you can add more to that. So thank you so much.
Hi, thank you for having me. First of all, I'm so grateful to be asked to speak tonight and honored, and to come after Tamara Packer, who is just like the most fabulous woman ever. She's just amazing. So tonight I'm going to talk about building internationally or globally. I did put some slides together for you, but I just want to start off by saying, so I've been with Young Living, I think it's 9 years now, and I started building the Young Living business about 6 or 7 months, I think, after I started using essential oils, and it's really changed my life. So I actually have a business background. I actually have an international business degree, which is very funny and ironic because I did not realize I would be using that when sharing health and wellness with Young Living, and it just kind of worked out that way. So my team is very international. Again, it's one of these things that just kind of happened that way. Because not without intent, there was definitely intent, but it just that market, my international business took off in a really big way with Young Living, which I'm super grateful for. And I just work with the most amazing team and people ever. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm very visual, so I wanted to put some slides together for you guys. So hopefully everyone can see this here about building internationally. And I thought I would just hit on some of the high points, and then I would take some questions from you. Very love interactive and dialogue. So whatever you guys would like to talk about. Okay, so why would you want to build internationally? So being a business major, we are always taught about diversifying our portfolio. So if you've ever invested in the stock market, it's the same thing. You always want to diversify your portfolio. You don't want all your eggs in one basket. And so I see building internationally with Young Living as a way to diversify my Young Living portfolio, because global markets typically, not always during a pandemic, but typically global markets, you'll have some countries being stronger than others at different times in the world, right? So there are advantages to having your business growing in multiple countries at the same time. And Young Living is shipping to more than 100 countries still today. And it also helps us to actually help people in an authentic way globally. So if you have a passion about helping underprivileged people in some country, then it gives you an opportunity to really do that with their health and with an income opportunity. So for me, this is just a super, super fulfilling way to live my life, and a way of giving back is by giving the gift of health to people overseas, and also giving them a business opportunity to get out of sometimes very bad financial situations. So those are the reasons that I would say you'd want to build internationally. Okay, so different types of international markets. So these are Young Living terms. If you're new to building internationally with Young Living, I'm going to give you some definitions. So the first one is OTG, on the ground. That means that we have a warehouse in that country, we have leadership in that country, they have their own product portfolio in that country, OTG, on the ground. The second one is NFR, also known as not for resale. All this means, like the technical reason that they call it NFR, it just means that they're not set up as a network marketing company in that country. So you can't buy a product and then resell that product at a markup in that country legally. So it's called not for resale. What that means, though, for building a business there is that the product will ship from the US. So when they create an account, they're going to go into the US website, and I'll show you in a second here. And they're going to set up their account for the country that they're in, but that country doesn't have an open warehouse. So it's purchased through the US warehouse. Most of the US products will be available depending on the market. So there is something called a dangerous good. It just means that if something is shipped on an airplane, it has a low flammability point. And so there's certain oils that they won't ship because they're can be flammable. Frankincense is one of those oils, sadly, but some countries don't have an issue with this. So the other thing with NFR is that when shipping to a country that's NFR, the end user is responsible for the shipping costs, the customs, the duties, and they're all dependent upon that market. So every market is different. Every market has its unique issues. So you have to know that. And then there is something called enhanced NFR, or ENFR, as our corporate team likes to call it. And this is, it ships from the United States. It has a pre-negotiated shipping rate that does include customs and duties. So it's typically a flat rate. Most US products are typically available, but again, that depends on the market. But enhanced NFR is a much easier situation typically than NFR. Okay. So if you are to go to youngliving.com, this is what you would see. So typically you've got your cash going in your computer, and you always end up on the US website if you're a US member. But if you're not a US member and you're logging into just youngliving.com, this is where you can see our open markets here. So all of these countries listed on the screen right now mean that they have product on the ground in that country. You're ordering directly from that country. You're paying all the local currency, etc. Okay, so how do you pick a market? Like, let's say, okay, I intentionally want to build internationally. How do I pick that market? So I personally believe it's, where do you know people? Where do you know people living? Where do your friends know people? And where do you not mind going? Like, it wouldn't be such a bad thing, because I do believe you need to get your rear end on an airplane, and you need to go to those countries, and you need to travel there, and you need to be teaching and educating people there. I think that's really important. I put a little QR code here to take you to a landing page, which I think I'm gonna see if I can share my screen properly here. Okay, so when you go into your virtual office, on the back of your virtual office, not your front end ordering, but your virtual office, there is a little tab here called International. It is not always updated, but hopefully it will be updated for the country you're looking for. So if I want to go to Europe, for instance, hopefully I didn't get logged out here. There we go. I can see, here's their ER program. They still call it ER there. Pretty much everyone except for the US is still on the old ordering system, FYI. I can get their product guide. I can see what their current promotions are, assuming that they're updated. I can see all their contact information, email addresses. So this is a really good resource for you if you are wanting to build internationally. They typically have a Facebook group too, and they try to put them on here. Here's like their product guide here. So I recommend that you really kind of sort through this international section if there is a country that you are wanting to build in, so that you can pull information for that country. Okay, let me see if I can go back to, there we go, my slides. Okay, so that's what this little QR code, it just took you there, but there's an easy way to get there from your VM. Okay, some considerations, because there's definitely pros, yay, but there are certainly cons. Okay, so we have to think about that. So the pros. It's a travel opportunity. Yay. Cons, it can be expensive to travel, right? Pro, you meet people all over the world. Con, sometimes those people are on the wrong time zone for you. Like I have members in India, and that is not fun. I've got like an hour a day at the beginning, an hour a day at the end, where I can actually help them real time. So just something to think about. Diversify your Young Living portfolio. Yay. Boo is expect there will be issues. Just know there are always, there are things to consider. This is a business and you have to be willing to put the effort for it. And just know you got to work through those situations. So expect delays, expect less support, especially with an NFR or an ENFR market, less so with a market that's on the ground, an actual open market. And the pro I love is just learning all their new customs. The con with that is that often, we do all these classes and we talk about all these great products and they may not have those products there. We have a very limited order, what you can order. They have a different website, so it doesn't all work the same. They have a different commission plan. It's not the same as ours. So it's just, there are always these things you need to think about. And I'm always trying to make my international team feel very included. So, I'm always trying to, when I teaching, okay, well, if you were in the US, here are the things in an ideal world you would choose. If you're international, you don't have those, here are some ideas of what you could use in place of that. So I'm always trying to do these types of things. And also anyone, even in an on the ground market, they can order products from the US. They just have to pay customs and duties, but there are times when it's just worth it. They just, these products, they're just, sometimes you can't live without certain things. And so it's just worth doing that. Okay. So ways to be successful. This was actually just a couple months ago. I was in South Africa. This is part of, just a few people from my team there. Amazing. So ways to be successful is be willing to learn their culture, learn all the things. And I didn't put this on there, but I should have, but it really goes with cultures. Learn the way they communicate. So most of my international members, they only communicate through WhatsApp. That's it. So I have been living on WhatsApp for many, many years working with them. And that's totally great. That's just the way that we do things, right? But they don't use text messaging at all. They don't really use Facebook at all. So you just have to learn, how to communicate in the way that's best for them, not the way that's best for me. The second is, learning how to identify the needs for that country, because every country has their own issues, like their own needs, their own health issues, and the things that are recurring in that country that may be a little different than what you're used to in the country that you live in. So, learn to listen for those needs and how to help them with those needs. And look for someone who can help lead your team who is there in that country. So it is in the best case world, the friend that you think of that is in that country can lead that team. Doesn't always work that way, right? But in the best case scenario would be, okay, I want to start building a business in whatever country, Romania. And I have a friend in Romania, but maybe that friend is not ready to take on that business, but maybe that friend knows someone who this business would really bless and who they really are into natural health. And so that is, something that they'd be interested in. And then really think about how you can bring value to that country. So, how do you bring value through the education that you provide and the means that they like that education? Or maybe it's, this income opportunity. In a lot of countries, a silver paycheck can retire an entire family. Like really, you can. So when you think about the impact of that you can literally retire a whole family with a silver paycheck, that's pretty powerful, y'all. Really, really powerful. Okay, why some markets are so successful. This is what I have found for my team, is that there are certain markets where people are just willing to work hard. They know they're gonna have to work hard. They're willing to put in the effort. They're willing, they're just willing. Very willing. You can't. I always love this saying: you cannot push a wet noodle up a hill, right? So, that noodle that wants to crawl, it's gonna make it up the hill, right? And then there are a lot of countries where people are very open to a side hustle, like that's just the norm, is to always have another source of income. And that's not really the norm for the US. A lot of people, maybe more so since COVID, but not before. So people are willing to look for a side hustle. There is an income opportunity that is very large in their currency. So, basically, if if they're building in an NFR country, they're paid in US currency. And that can be a whole lot of money to them. Even if they're paid in their own currency for an on the ground and open market, it still is a very big income opportunity for many countries. And the last thing, which maybe should have been the first thing, is that many countries are very open to natural remedies, even more so than in the US. So that's something that I have found to be really true for a lot of the growing markets, is this is just the norm. In the US, I think we're many generations away from our great grandmother's natural remedies. And a lot of other countries, this is their first generation that's grown up with Western medicine. So the parents are very, like, they just grew up learning about natural remedies. Okay, so questions. I got through that pretty quickly, but I'd love to take questions from you guys.
I have one. I
Yes.
always thought it was quite amazing that, like, when you go to Ecuador and, they're paying the same price that we're paying basically for oils, and, the average income is supposed to be $365 a month, right? So how are you finding it being these in the other countries? Are the price of their oils, do they have something to say about that, or are they changed for that area?
There are certain on the ground countries have different ways that they bundle things and price things. But what I would say is, in a very compliant way, is that we know the power of these oils. And an ounce of prevention can be, right? I mean, we talk about this a lot. I think this is such a big deal with our team, is educating of what they're replacing by not, by having that oil. They're replacing so many things they would have been buying anyway. Or replacing visits to places that they would like to avoid, right? But also versatility. We talk a lot about versatility, is that this one oil can be used in these 300 different ways. It's not just for one thing. Just like when you go to the store to buy something Western, you probably are going to use it only in that one way.
Audrey had a question talking about recommendations for making connections when they're not on Facebook and Instagram. And you talked about WhatsApp. Is that the only app? And is there programs that of with WhatsApp when you could do something like sort of like project broadcast or text classes and that kind of thing?
That's a really good question. It's something I've been working on for a while. So right now you can set up broadcast messages in WhatsApp, but the receiver of those messages has to be a contact. They have to have you as a contact on their phone. So you just have to make sure that person knows, hey, I'm going to be sending out, my monthly education. We have a lot of chat groups for our team. I've also been trying to pull people over to Telegram, because in Telegram, they can see what was there before they got into the chat, whereas WhatsApp, you don't have that ability. And so we have literally years of content in our Telegram chat, because there's a way to actually download years of information from a WhatsApp into a Telegram chat. So I'm trying to kind of, as people are joining now, is like, fine, join the WhatsApp, but if you want a search mechanism, join the Telegram chat so that you can have that search. We do a ton of Zoom classes. That got really big during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I was doing 3 educational classes a week. Globally. Now we're doing one health education class a week, and I do a team call every Monday, and then I'll have a business call like twice a month for my global team personally. But I think everyone does things differently. That's just what seems to be a good working schedule for my team.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Allie.
Hi.
Thank you for that. That was fantastic. Your slides were wonderful. So I went international during the COVID year, 2020, and multiple countries all at one time. And one of the most confusing things that happened, we were using WhatsApp. Telegram wasn't a thing yet. But they're all on Facebook, and they're also on Facebook. So in your Facebook group, that's your main like oiler group, do you post all of the promotions for all the different countries every single month?
So I have one country that's my largest country. South Africa is
Your largest.
I have the most in. But I have members in all over Europe and India and other parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Mexico, all over. So what I personally do, this is not like I don't know that there's
I just want an opinion because I haven't had a conversation.
So for me, I post US and South Africa and Facebook. And then I have in all the WhatsApp chats, they all get their own personalized messages.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah, that's just what I have been doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. It got confusing. So like in my group. So thank you.
Typically, like I have a fair share of members in Israel, but they're all in their own team chats. So they see everything, but then I have an Israel chat just for them. So if there's like something specific to Israel, I'll go in there and say, hey, I'm seeing this. What are you guys seeing here? Or, hey, this person's having a class in this city in Israel. If anyone wants to send their members to that, they can do that. So we kind of collaborate and little offshoot chats for those specific countries.
Thank you. Cool.
Out of curiosity, do you have more team members in the US or out of country?
I have more out of country now than I do in the US. Yeah.
Exciting. I love what you're just saying about, the income. And if you're getting paid in US dollars, especially, like what that would mean for someone in a different country with a different pay scale. So that would just be incredible.
Such a blessing for people. I mean, we retired a lot of mamas, which has been really nice. And getting women out of situations that aren't good situations. There's just a lot of really beautiful stories of how this income has blessed people.
Jess asked, but I'm supposed to be specific per country, but says, what is the best way to get the exact details or offers of each country? Which starter bundles are available?
Yes, the easiest way to do it is if it's an open market, go to that youngliving.com, which I showed you a screenshot of, act like you're going to enroll into that country and just go look and see on their website as just an outside person, not a member would do. So don't log in. Go into youngliving.com to the main one, pick the country, and then you'll see exactly what's available for that country. I was short and sweet. Sorry, I tend to be very brief.
It's perfect. Concise. You don't have a lot of time when you have that many team members in all different languages there. How many languages do you speak?
Oh, me? No, I just English and very broken Spanish, but ironically, I don't have really very many members who speak Spanish. But it's actually really funny is that there was, I got a message in one of the WhatsApp chats in Afrikaans, which is like one of the original languages of South Africa. And what would have been like 3 a.m. for them. And it was the daytime for me. And I thought, oh goodness, this person probably really needs something if it's 3 a.m. So I used Google Translate to translate it. And then I responded. And then I put it back in Afrikaans and sent it. And then when I woke up the next morning, they're like, Anna speaks Afrikaans? I'm like, no, Google Translate does. I mean, that's the thing is you just have to be willing to put a little extra effort in to support your members in the best way that you can, which is totally great and worthwhile. And have been such a great gift for me. Lots of travel.
I always loved, only because I know Ecuador, or know it in the sense I've been there multiple times, and people are just so receptive and appreciative and really have a reverence for the oil, where, in the US, it's not like that necessarily. You got to beg someone to want to help themselves sometimes, right? So it's so exciting that other markets and countries who grew up with natural things are more into turmeric and cumin or different things that here in America, we didn't even grow up with growing up, most likely, at least of Michigan. And so like, I didn't even know what cilantro and guacamole or avocados were until, I moved to California. So, so it's sort of nice that people have this different whole respect for natural and are interested.
In the same vein, though, you also have the flip side where I have some European members and they're like, well, I can get essential oils in my natural food store anywhere, just like you hear here, right? And you have to show them what the difference is, and you have to educate them. And so much, I think, of the benefits of Young Living is the community and helping that community get you to the right answers with a much better quality product than they can get at their natural food store. And I think that's a really important differentiator for Young Living. Joanne was asking, do you have an approach? So I know that it depends on the country. Some countries, they don't have to buy a starter kit, so they can start with like a couple of very versatile oils. Some countries, what people do is they have different names for them based on the country. In Mexico, they call them tandas. In South African, they call them stockfells. But basically, it's a kind of like a self-created layaway program where like 4 people will go in together, and every week they each put in a certain amount of money, and they draw straws for who gets their the kit first, and they keep paying in until everyone has gotten that, everyone's gotten their own kit. So that is, but the issue with that is you just have to make sure you're with trusted people, right? That everyone's going to keep paying in until everyone gets their kit. So, but it is a very cultural thing that they're used to doing in a lot of these countries. So they do this for a lot of different things. They do this for buying their groceries in South Africa for the really underprivileged communities. So it's not an unheard of thing to do that. I don't have anyone in Indonesia, Joanne. Yeah, no, I don't. But I did see that it is on the international page. When I was clicking around Asia, I saw Indonesia there. Yeah, but I think the Asian markets do pretty well typically. Again, because they're so connected to natural health, it's very normal for them. And they also are very, depending on the country, I don't want to generalize, because some Asian countries are different than others, very different than others, about women having an income can be a challenge in some of those countries. But I think there is the income opportunity is a huge thing for many markets.
But what a blessing. How exciting it would be to travel all around and just help people in these areas. And so many different, like you said, the ministries that Young Living is involved in, you can go to many of these areas and be there with the people as well. So would be really exciting. Yes,
it's such a gift for sure. But I mean, I never thought I would be traveling internationally again after I left my corporate job, and here I am. Who knows? Who knew?
Let's see.
Yes, everything is a tax write-off, Audria. Yes. When you travel for business, it is a tax write-off, 100%. All of it. Even when I go on vacation now, if I enroll someone or I'm talking about oils to someone, that vacation just became, I mean, like that, if I'm doing business, then I'm doing business.
Yeah, so much is a tax write-off, which is such a blessing.
Yes.
Okay, I'll put my glasses on. Any other international or just business questions?
It totally lets you dream bigger and serve more, for sure. For sure. And by the way, I hit Diamond during COVID, during summer, during July, during COVID, to give you any idea. Like typically, if you've been around for a long time, you know that summer months are typically lower months for us, especially in the States. And COVID did not serve all of our business as well, but it just because I was doing so much education online, and people were stuck in their homes and they wanted to learn how to be healthy. So I really think if you, if your intention is always to help others, it has a funny way of helping you back. Isn't that amazing?
Yep. That's a blessing. Do you have children?
Yes, I have 2.
2. Did they go with you on any of these trips?
Yes, my kids have. They've only been to South Africa. They said they had the best time ever, but they said they never want to travel that far again. I'm trying to get them to come back with me again this summer. They haven't been in like 4 years now, but it's 36 hours, like in best case scenario, to get there. So it's quite a trek. So yes.
Do you have any people in Russia?
I do not have people in Russia. I started to go that way, and then there were some issues with the Russian market. So the timing worked out for me to not have people in Russia when things got to be a mess there.
Mhm. I love how Young Living supports, obviously there's leaders or members in Russia and the surrounding areas, but when all the situation that's happening there, and obviously you can't ship there and that kind of thing right now, Young Living still supported the members how they could. And so it's just, Young Living is such an amazing company globally to, whether they can get there or not, or someone's receiving checks and maybe they can't get their products anymore. I just love how Young Living really steps in and helps out where they can.
I totally agree.
Mm.
Yeah, there was a question about Zoom classes with different languages. So, I mean, obviously that's very, that's in an ideal situation. If you're working in a country that speaks a different language, that's when you need to find either you speak that language or you have a leader on the ground that can help you, that you can train quickly, and then you can do that for them. But, I right now, the bulk of my business is all English speaking countries, or if it's not an English speaker, I have someone in between that can help me translate, that is a building in some way. If you have no connections in a country, is there a way to promote in general, or is connection the key? I am not a social media influencer. Like, I do share on social media, but a lot of people who are influencers, they target their messaging for the countries they want to go into. They can create a separate account, or they can do lots of different things. I do have people who build internationally on my team. I don't have any huge, I think I have one that's like a somewhat major influencer in a small type of market. And she speaks only Afrikaans, but like only Afrikaans. So like she does her own thing, and she has someone that speaks to her and helps her with all the things. But I think, yes, I mean, again, I'm not an expert in social media, but there certainly is a way, if you build that way, to do that. But my personal opinion, and I feel even more rooted in that opinion today than I even did 2 years ago, is that you have to have relationships with people. You have to sell. You have to be truly helping people. So if you're selling health, and you're helping them authentically with their health. And that's the only way that this is going to be a successful business, is that if someone truly believes in what we have to offer, because what we have is very special. And a lot of social media influencers sell surface, because that's all they can sell on social media. So it's just something to think about. Like, for me, I would much rather touch and feel. And I mean, I can't even tell you, when I finally got to hit the ground again, when they opened up after all the restrictions were stopped between here and South Africa, I just like sobbed when I hit the ground there and got to hug the people that I'd only been able to see online for years. Like, these are like truly my friends that I care about on a deep, deep level. And I think that's what this business is about, no matter which country you build in, is that we are here to care for people.
That's beautiful. One of the questions says, any favorite ways you like to research other countries?
Through people. Yeah. See, I'm always back to the people. I'm very blue. It's all about the people for me. Is just, who do I know that has people there? I have the US is a melting pot, right? So you certainly know people from all different countries. And so I have those conversations with people all the time. When we were looking at opening in China, I was talking to my Chinese friends about who do they still have there? Who do they, with whatever country it is, it's about having a conversation with someone that I know personally. And often the conversation is not, hey, do you want to go build a business in this country? Is, I'm looking at building a business in this country. Do you know anyone who would be interested in building a business in that country? And if they say me, then great. If not, they might know someone else, right? So I think just throwing it out there, it's, I think, always about the languaging of just giving people the opportunity, whether they know that they have that opportunity or not, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we don't let them know there is an opportunity, they wouldn't know, right?
Yes, we want them to know there's always an opportunity, but we also don't want them to be like, oh, that's not for me, but they might think of someone else that it really is for. Anything else?
Let's see.
I don't see any other questions. Oh, if you have connections in the countries, promote in general.
Okay.
New market, there's moving on the ground too. So Audrey, that's a really good question. So there was a program that was called 5x5 where we were trying to open more countries more quickly. And then a lot of things got neglected from an operational standpoint. And so really everything is kind of slowed down. So the markets that you see now are likely going to be the only markets that we will have for some time until everyone's on the new ordering platform, and the website and the compensation plan are pretty ubiquitous is my, my guess and understanding based on some commentary. So I would just focus on what you see right now. I don't think there's any new countries coming anytime soon. And Christine, I see your question is, are there any income disclosures available for different countries? Are there requirements? I know that there are a lot of country managers have for their own country. And so typically, if you're involved with one of those countries, you'll know who the country leader is and you can reach out for that, or they'll have it on their Facebook group for their builders. And every country does things a little differently. So just, reach out to the contacts on the website. And I'm sure they can provide those types of things for you in their own currency too, which is good.
Seems like, there's a little intricacies to learn about international young living marketing.
Yes, it's fun. It's a new way to use your brain.
Okay, then if there's no other questions, Ally, we'd like to thank you so much. And this video will be, we'll send this to you hopefully tomorrow, but then we have the link that we've already shared for everybody that you'll be able to come back and use this and share out with any of the people that you have internationally or just in general, so that they can learn the new opportunities that are before them as well. And what's one more question? I have team in Australia, Hungary, and always up opportunity. Perfect. Yeah, Australia, that market's been here for quite a while. So a lot of opportunities there. So everyone, thank you so much for joining Monday Night Ignite. We do have one more call next Monday, health at 7 p.m. Eastern and business at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that is going to be the end of the Monday Night Ignite for this year, and we'll see what's going to happen next year. I'm not quite sure yet. So thank you everybody for all your time, and have a blessed night.